A lot of fun for me because we're talking about this guy right here, which is the euro, which hopefully some of you should know is the unit of currency in Europe, the continent of Europe. Now, unless you've traveled or spent a lot of time doing business overseas, you may not know much about it. I'm hoping in the next 20 minutes or so we can kind of give you a bird's eye view of what the euro is, how it came to be, and why you should be a little better off financially if you have a working knowledge of what I'm hoping to impart shortly. Now, every show I do not try to do it in a textbook manner. I do not give you a long list of statistics, information, and checklists for you to digest. I try to couch it in lay terms and also give you some background and a little bit of shtick or storylines that make it fun. This is very much fun for me. I'll tell you why. I'm going to talk about the euro in a second, but this is fun for me. You looking at me do the On the Money Show, episode 28, which is about the euro. Before I even created or broadcast my first episode of the On the Money Show, I had an inkling that I wanted to do some TV work, but like most of us, we coulda, woulda, shoulda, we might not have got round to it. Here is my story. It is a good one. Okay, as you can obviously hear, I'm from London, the UK. I've been here off and on in New York about 25 years in the markets, but in the course of that 25 years, I've been back and forth to the UK, both for pleasure and for professional reasons. Long story short, let me get to the point. In the year, in 1999, I was working at a trading desk. There's a moral to this story as well. Let me write this better so you can read. In 1999, ladies and gentlemen, I was working at a trading desk for a company who I'm not sure if they're still in business. I just tell you what they do. I don't need to refer to their name. Whose business was commercial foreign exchange. The euro is a unit of exchange, obviously. Now, there are about 15 traders at this desk, and just like most trading rooms in the city, we have TVs up alongside us that blare out financial news stations. CNBC, Bloomberg, Reuters, you pick one. There's about 12 of them worldwide. Okay, long story short, I'm talking to my desk partner who, for the sake of this conversation, let's call him Joe, okay? Stay with me, there's a moral to this, all right? Joe is watching a financial news channel, as do all of us. It's our fodder, it's our input, it's where we get our news and information. And he sees a gentleman, who I won't name specifically, let's call him Analyst X, talking about, which existed then, the French franc. Long story short, the analyst in question is saying that he doesn't think the French franc is capable of much support at these levels, and he thinks it's going to come off in price. What that means in English is he thinks the French franc is going to weaken against the US dollar. Okay, let me condense this. My partner Joe is watching someone on TV tell him that the French franc is going to tank. It's going to come off in price, it will depress, it will move away, it will drift down. So Joe says, you know what, I'm going to reverse my French franc position. I'm going to spin it and I'm going to short the French franc, which means, in English again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bet that it goes down. So I say to Joe, this is a true story, ladies and gentlemen, why are you doing that? And he says, because Analyst X doesn't like the French franc, now I have to value and abide by his opinion. The short answer, I say to Joe, listen, are you really telling me that everything this guy says is paved in gold? He is biblical, he knows everything, he gets everything right. He's just an analyst. Do you think just because he's on TV he knows everything? There's a moral to that one. So, long story short, Joe and I kick it around for a little while, and then I say to Joe, stay with me here, this is fun. Okay, I will get myself up. Anyone can be on TV, and this is true to whoever you are in viewer land. I bet I can go up on TV and give just as good an opinion as that guy. And Joe, my partner, says, to quote, unquote, I'm full of it. So, finishing the story, I call CNBC Europe. That is the TV station in question. And I say, hi, I'm Aidan Doyle. I'm an FX trader at XYZ. I would like to contribute towards your show. Please put me in your list of potential contributors. please call me. I'd love to be on TV. I will give a good account of myself. I know what I'm talking about. And they said, as they always do, great, we'll get back to you. Okay, let's wrap this up because we need to talk about specifics. 2 months later, the phone rings at my desk. It is a producer for CNBC Europe. They say to me, hi, Mr. Doyle, how are you? You contacted us 3 months ago wishing to contribute or be on our live feed. How would you like to do a show called The Euro, the First 90 Days? This, ladies and gentlemen, was my first TV debut in 6th of April, 1999. All right, we're talking about, what, 10, 11 years ago? So, this is the moral to my story. The moral to my story is the Euro was my debut. It's where I lost my cherry in terms of broadcasting, and it is such a joy, or it makes me, it's so ironic that I'm back here 11 years later with my own show talking about the Euro. Okay, that was my little war story. I don't know if you enjoyed it or not, but it did actually result in me being in front of you today. Let's talk about the Euro, which is what is more useful to you than me telling you my history and my broadcasting experience. Okay, the Euro, real quickly, is a relatively new currency. I'm going to read some notes here because it's very lengthy. It was introduced first time round in January as a currency in 1999. All right. At the time, this is interesting, and it was interesting at the time. It existed only electronically for 3 years, so you couldn't actually put a euro in your pocket until January 2002. Okay. Now, to tell you what the euro is and why it was introduced, I'm going to have to give you a very quick lesson in FX 101. Because unless you know why it was introduced, you won't really know what benefits it brought about as a result of its introduction. Okay. I'm assuming that most people here understand what foreign exchange is, can define the expression. In other words, these are companies, there are countries out there apart from the US with the almighty dollar that have different currencies domestically, and these currencies, let's use the euro symbol. I'm not very good at the euro symbol, but that's something like that. I'm going to put 4 big currencies up there so you can see them, okay, ladies and gentlemen? This is the euro symbol. I think it goes like that. That's it. And then Japanese yen. And let's use those 3. There's plenty, but those are due for starters. Okay. Dollar, euro, yen. They're biggies, okay? All these currencies move against each other in terms of price. That means any one day, your dollar will buy or sell more yen than it did yesterday. Okay. The reason, that's fun, but the reason it creates a headache for businessmen, because if someone wants to pay you in yen for something you've made, you don't know how many dollars it's going to buy when you get the yen. Long story short, without exchange rate risk, which is exactly what I've just summed up in very lay terms, without exchange rate risk, business is made a lot easier. Okay. I don't know how good your geography is, but this is where I list all the countries that currently use the euro. Stay with me, camera number 2, I believe it is. I'm going to try and make this nice and neat. If you go to the website, which I'm hoping will be put underneath me right now, on themoneyshow.com, you'll see a list that you can download. But for the time being, I'm going to list 16, there are 16 of them, countries that all share a common currency. Now, this has the effect of making them all one unit as far as FX is concerned. It's like they're all Americans now and they all share the US dollar, okay? Now, what I'd like you to do while I'm doing this, I'd like you to look at this list with me and see if you can remember what the currencies were for these countries before the euro came about. Shouldn't be too difficult. I mean, I'm sure everyone knows the German mark, Irish punt, Belgian franc, Aussie dollar. I think Finland is krona, but I'm not going to guess. I'd like you to help me here. Italy was lira. I miss all these currencies, by the way. Is it just me, or does everyone miss saying these words and thinking about these countries as they used to be? Luxembourg, I don't know, it's so small, I've never traded one. Maltese, never again traded the currencies, but it is a part of Europe. Sorry, this is going a bit further down the road, but this list is available. Netherlands, don't know. Portuguese, I think that's, again, I don't know. And then they become more obscure. Slovakia, running out of ink. Slovenia, God knows. And then our old buddy, the Spanish, who hopefully everyone knows, was one of my favourites, the peseta. Okay, I've made a couple of dozen, fill in the gaps for me. Okay, now, when you unified all these companies and all the old currencies, by the way, let me just remind you guys, this is Aidan Doyle. Sorry, this is Aidan Doyle. I am from London. That means I am British in terms of currency. What you may notice missing rather alarmingly from this list is a pound sterling, which for political reasons is not a part of the euro. It was a political football for some time, but I'm going to explain why whilst these 16 countries are on board, there were countries that didn't want to be on board, and let me just explain why that happens. When you combine this amount of countries into one currency, the euro, what you're doing is you're saying you no longer control your fate as far as your exchange rate is concerned. You are now part of the collective. It's effectively the same. I was thinking about this on the subway today. I will always share my thoughts with you, even on a timely manner. I don't read from textbooks. It's effectively the same as colonizing their economy, because now it's the almighty euro. It's like they lost their financial independence. Now, in fairness to myself and my country, Great Britain, in the historic scheme of things, has a tremendous amount of sovereign history. Okay, so I hope you can read this. And financial independence. What that means is they said, we're not joining the euro. We're not too good to join the euro, but we'd rather be the captain of our own ship than master of our own destiny. Okay, these things all happened 10 years ago. The question that has been asked since then, and you may have seen it in the news, is, was it necessarily good for these countries? The short answer is yes and no. There are arguments for both, but what I want to make clear to you is the euro as a currency has made the world financial markets a lot stabler. It's brought every single one of these countries into line as far as the economy is concerned, and I personally think it's a good thing. Okay. It is also the second largest traded currency in the world. Now, I hope you're getting the writing I'm trying to put up here adequately. I'm doing the best I can with it, and long story short, I'll use graphics if need be. I'm going to give you a short list, right now, of the benefits of the euro and why it came to be. First things first, we talked about this. It makes uniform. Okay, no, let's not write that. Let's do this. I'll explain basically what exchange risk is. Exchange risk means when you do business today in a currency that's not yours, you don't know what you're going to have to pay for it down the road because the rate will change. So the euro means that those countries that are members of the euro or use the currency, when they do business with each other, they haven't got any exchange risk. It's like they're all trading in dollars and they're all Americans. So it eliminates